we're gonna do a little bit different of an angle today, because normally you just see the like flat lay version where you're looking down at everything I'm cooking. But today I wanted to try something different. So we're gonna do a different angle and ignore the dried herbs over there. I have to crush up and put into bottles later. But today we're going to make vanilla cake. It's just a basic vanilla cake, which is, you know, soft, fluffy, moist, delicious, all those fun words. Let's get started. First, preheat your oven to 350 degrees so that can warm up while we do the rest of this. 1 cup softened butter, 2 cups of granulated sugar. We're gonna put that into the stand mixer and we're gonna beat them until they are light and fluffy. If you've never seen light and fluffy sugar / butter, this is what it looks like. It is lighter in color and fluffier, and that is what we're looking for right there. So I'm using cake flour. You can use all-purpose flour, just so you know. Cake flour just has a little bit of a different taste to it, and it's like, makes the cakes fluffier. By the way, this sifter is amazing. This is like an old school crank sifter, and look at that. Sifts way easier and way faster than all the other sifters I've ever used. Note to yourself, when using, I'm gonna come back down. When using 1 teaspoon of salt, make sure that this is just it's iodized salt, but it's the very small grains. Like, it's the smaller grains. Don't use the big crunchy ones or the ones you grind up yourself, blah, 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 blah. You're gonna end up biting into it and tasting little bits of salt, which nobody wants. So make sure it is the like table salt. Now always give this a nice little whisk just to kind of mix it all together. We're gonna start adding in eggs one at a time. And I'll break an egg into the measuring cup and then put the egg into the mix. Because that one time that you accidentally get an eggshell into your mix and you lose your mind because now you have to like make everything over again and start over again, you'll learn why. That's why I use a stand mixer, by the way. It's because otherwise I'd be sitting there with a hand mixer mixing it or with a whisk mixing it, and I'm not doing that. I'm a little bit lazy. Next, we're gonna add in a tablespoon, yes, a tablespoon of the clear vanilla extract. Now, there are 2 different kinds. There's vanilla extract, which is kind of a yellow tint, and you'll see it in the cake. It comes out like yellowish. This is clear. This tries to come out as white-ish as you can cake-wise. The egg yolks in there is gonna make it yellow anyway, so I don't really technically care, but I'm gonna use it because that's what the instructions gave me. Don't spill, don't spill, don't spill, don't spill, don't spill. Didn't spill. We're learning this together, whatever. If you like this angle, go ahead and put a little like down there. Click that like button. Let me know if you like this angle or if you want to go back to the 3-minute videos where you see my hands. So now we're going to start alternating the flour combo as well as the milk, which I have 1.5 cups of milk in here. So this is just, I think my husband gets skim milk, so we just use that. You can use whole milk, you can use whatever you want. Some people prefer different types of milk for the recipes. I don't care. This is called Imperfect cook. This is not called French baking, right? Okay, so I just used whatever milk we had in the refrigerator. Just be glad it's not chocolate milk. And then we're gonna scoop in the flour, so that's why I have my spoon. I actually scoop the flour, like kind of scoop / dump the flour in, and we alternate between the flour and the milk, making sure that the flour is the first and the last thing that we are scooping into this mixture. I'm not really sure why that's important, but you know, it's one of those things where you're told to do it, so I just do it. I'm sheep, whatever. case you didn't hear me for any of that, by the way, because I noticed this thing is the quieter. This is the commercial version of the KitchenAid, which is the quietest version, but it still makes noise. So just in case you didn't hear me, we were alternating the flour and the milk, and I'm gonna stop so I can see that flour that's on there. I'm gonna scrape down the sides, things like that. This, my friends, is the reason why I use cake flour over all-purpose flour. Is look at how much fluffier just the batter looks, right? It just kind of looks a little bit fluffier and a little bit lighter, which means that the cake, sorry, I'm licking my fingers now, is going to be fluffier and lighter, and that is delicious. So what this has is it's for 2 9-inch round pans, which I probably should have told you at the beginning to go ahead and prep those, but I didn't because it's me. So yes, normally you prep your pans when you click preheat, right? When you start the preheat. Normally I would do this in 2 round 9-inch pans, but I decided I wanted to try this. So I grabbed these pans from the store while we were there. These are just square 8x8 pans. And I was like, you know what? I've never actually done a square cake before, so I want to try the square pan. So I'm going to use 2 of these. 2 of the 8x8s. I'm going to divide the mixture in half into these, half-ish, into these. And we're going to try making a square cake because, I mean, why not follow the directions? It's fun sometimes. Just so that you guys know, yes, I understand I am using things that I will actually, by the way, put in recycling, whatever. But I do understand I'm using these pans that are the one-time use, basically, because I'm testing out the square size pans. If I like the square cake, then I'm going to go buy square pans, but I don't want to buy square pans unless I know I'm going to use them. So this is me testing out the square pans. Actually a good thing to get your kids involved. If your kids are in the skill level of using scissors without hurting themselves, this would be good for them to help out with. Help them, get them to cut these out. I don't know what I did with the corner of that pan. I'm definitely not a tracing kid. So what I'm gonna do with these pans, I'm also gonna spray them and then put this parchment paper on the bottom so that there's no non-stick all the way around. In order to make sure I'm getting it pretty even, it doesn't have to be like 100% perfect because like I said, this is called imperfect, so. To get as accurate as I can, I'm going to use a scale. Now that I have that pretty even, it's off by a little bit, but not a ton. We have it pretty even. I kind of wiped down the tops of them to kind of flatten it so it didn't have like a huge bump. There are things that you can do to try and ensure that you don't have one of those bumps in the middle of it. I mean, in all honesty, you could always just cut them off at the end too, so I just leave it alone, see what happens. Let's put these in the oven now. So the oven has been preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm gonna go ahead and pop these suckers in there for 38 to 42 minutes or until you stick a toothpick into the center and it comes out clean. So since that's gonna be in there for 38 minutes, well, I'm gonna go clean because I got some cleaning to do. Because I may have made a mess over there. I'm gonna go clean. I'm gonna go clean. So the cake is done cooking. So the cake is done baking. I checked it, the toothpick came out clean, so we're good there. I left them in the pan for 10 minutes to cool in the pan. So now I'm gonna take them out of the pans and I'm gonna lay them on a wire rack to cool completely. Okay, so the cake's out of the oven and cooling on their racks over there. So let's go ahead and get started making the icing. So for the icing I chose, this is a stabilized, like whipped icing. So when you make whipped cream icing, obviously you have to keep it cold in order for the whipped cream to keep its form, right? Well, this one adds cream cheese to it and it just kind of keeps it in its form while still kind of have that whipped cream taste to it. So now the frosting is all nice and whipped up. I went ahead and put that in the refrigerator, and I just realized it's getting really dark in here. Okay, clouds, really? Anyway, sorry if the light shifted. Got dark outside. So now we're gonna go ahead and cut up the strawberries. So I wanna put strawberries in between the layers of the cake as well as on top of the cake. So we're gonna need a lot of strawberries. So I went ahead and got some from the store. And if you hear anything next to me, that's because Tyler is patiently waiting for his strawberries, because somebody loves strawberries, don't you? So I am slicing the strawberry up and down so I get those nice strawberry slice look to it. I love those. That's gonna also lay a lot easier for the middle layers. Watch my fingers, watch my fingers. And then I'm gonna cut some, I may put whole ones on the top, I'm not sure yet. I kind of really wanted to do some like sliced strawberry on top. Now I'm thinking just pop a whole strawberry on top, that'd be delicious. Because I love strawberries. I only used one container. I may have gotten more than one because thinking I was gonna run out or something, but I think I'm gonna do that. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the top. I think that should be perfectly fine. The rest are sliced like this to go in the middle, and if I don't use them all, that's fine. I will eat them. And I'm pretty sure little man over here will help me, wouldn't you? I'm gonna put a little bit of icing right here in the middle of this just to keep this sheet of parchment stuck on there while I rotate and everything. I can work without this sliding off. I just took a normal piece of parchment that I have the rectangle shaped ones. You see tongs? That's little Tyler right there. Thank you for the slobbery tongs. You can have those back. All right, and I just cut it down to just be a little bit bigger than the square that we're gonna use. Okay, so what I'm gonna do for the icing, I have this is kind of like my icing kit. If you haven't noticed, I have all these little, and this is a Husky case, so this is actually for tools, right? We found this when I was at like Home Depot one day, and I was like, that would fit perfectly. So yeah, I just have all these little tips, and I just got all of these tips I got most of them, let me rephrase that, from the Pinners Conference. And then I also have all my icing flavors, which I'm not gonna use today. I wanna do a white with the red strawberry, so I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna be using the Wilton 2D icing tip for this. I am gonna be using it for the inside of the cake. Normally, if I was just doing the inside and then just doing a flat icing all around the outside, I'd just leave it as just the bag. But because I do wanna do, I think I wanna try this with some little thingies on it. I don't know. I'm gonna do it with this. So icing bag, coupler, and the 2D tip. Icing is not my favorite thing to do, but it is a necessary evil when baking. Put just a dab on the middle of the board just to keep that. So I push from the top, by the way. When I'm pushing the icing, I push from this hand, and this hand's steering. Acceleration, steering. I'm just putting a dab like that. Isn't that pretty? That's about as good as you're gonna get from me. Like I said, I'm not an icing person. And I squish it down. Yeah, pretty dab, just went bye-bye. Here's my pretty cake. Now, one thing you will notice, this cake is a little bit arched right there, so I'm gonna take a knife and just kind of come at it this way. Bread knife, plain and simple. And I'm just gonna come at it like this in a sawing motion and see how it'll just start going across the part that sticks up where you're sawing across here. And you can do this at whatever height you want to do it to. Some people are like down here, stuff like that. this is for my family and myself, and look at the deliciousness. Sorry. This is for my family and myself. So this will be us eating it. It's not like it's a big deal. I'm eating some of this. Oh, that's a good cake. Oh yeah. I'm actually just going to put icing around and then fill in the middle and then put the strawberries. So for this, I'm gonna use the turntable here, wiki wiki. I love cakes with fruit in them, on them, all around them. I think it's absolutely the best combination ever is fruit and cake. It makes you feel a little bit better about eating cake too. You're like, hey, I'm getting my fruit in today too. Look at that, 2 things at once, multitasking. And this is kind of why it's slightly important to have like a flat surface. Yeah. You can tell I didn't do that, but yeah, whatever. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna go around, I'm just gonna lay another layer around the outside of this. I'm not touching the middle, I'm just gonna go on the outside. But we're gonna put on top. You know what I do wanna do? I do wanna put a little bit of icing here just so it's like glue. Icing is kind of like the glue in the cake world, cake and cupcake world. So we're just gonna put some glue down. Maybe a couple pretty, just for fun. Again, when you're cutting that off, you are using a bread knife, but at the same time, it's still a knife. Watch your fingers. Wonder. All right, put this right on top. Oh, my squishies. Oh, my squishies. All right, so this is my icing spatula right here. I'm just gonna go along the edges and kind of flatten this out. Along the edges here. We're gonna do, take this, going around the top again. So I'm going to do a dollop on each corner. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to do 2 in the middle, so I'm going to do 1 big swirly dollop. Oh, that air bubble came at the exact right time. What? I like that better. I like that a lot better. I think I'm gonna do this though. Lay a flat one there. Pretty flat one there. Pretty flat one. Guess it's a good thing I sliced all these flat ones. There. I don't know where that cut off actually. I'm a little worried now. I need to check the video. You can see the design a little bit better. I think it's cute. It kind of looks like rainbows and then strawberries, which, you know, we've had this conversation. I love strawberries. I freaking love them. When you're done too, if you have extra frosting and some strawberries, you can do that. Huh? Delicious. Say hi. Hey! You got slobber. Oh my god. And that's it for my vanilla cake with whipped cream, icing, and strawberries. So check in the description box below for the recipe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.